congratulations with
Oh,
things to be different.
oh yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, Nancy. Really enjoy talking to you here for a little bit. You doing all right?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you. But it's your first feature.
Yes, yes. It's very exciting, very overwhelming, full of new first time things happening, but I'm very excited for everyone to check out the movie.
Yes. So you had your premiere in South by Southwest, which is really awesome. So what was your experience to get to see the audience watch your film?
It was really exciting because we were kind of in the rush of finishing the movie. It pretty much came all together early this year. And so when we got to South by Southwest and had our premiere, it kind of all hit me at once, being like, oh my gosh, it's real. This movie's done and everyone's here. We're watching it. I didn't even get a second chance to think about, like, oh, how is this going to play? I'm just glad it exists. Thankfully, the audience engagement was really it's encouraging and very overwhelmingly positive for us, and we had a great time talking about it with people for a long time afterwards. And the screenings since then have just met that level and beyond. So it's been really, really awesome since then.
Now, Things Will Be Different is a different kind of sci-fi that we're not used to. So what made you go that route?
I grew up watching a lot of science fiction movies and time travel movies with my family, so I already knew what was well-worn territory or what rules and logic have already been played with. So I just kind of chase my mantra when writing anything, which is I kind of just need to write something I've never seen before, or I want to make things that I've never seen before. So that's exciting, but also challenging in so many different ways. And I just kind of grew this world from based off like my own like ideas, visiting our family farm in the middle of nowhere, and kind of transporting my own brain to a different time when I would pick up an antique or look at an old photo and wonder what it was like back then, and then shape the world from there. So a lot of figuring out rules and logic by talking about it with my wife, who's very science based, and with my family, who are also in science based careers. So, yeah, just chase the unknown and see what happens from there.
Now, I'm very curious to know why you chose a tape player, a tape recorder, of all things.
So one of the fun things about making a time travel movie is it kind of, even if the people in the who watch the movie only get this glimpse, you still have to figure out what's outside of the movie in order to make everything work. And the tape recorder was just a fascinating way of like being able to communicate with somebody over time, uh, like a walkie-talkie. Like if I talk into a tape recorder, put it in someplace safe, let time pass, and then someone picks it up, and then they're just like, "Oh, here's I'm literally talking to somebody from another time," and having the tape recorder sent back to the beginning, leaving a response, and then letting time sit there as well. So like for people to hear the response. So it's really cool to see a magical tape recorder act like a walkie-talkie by just compressing time all into one, which I thought was just an idea I've never seen before. So it seemed really cool.
Yeah, it definitely was, especially with all these, I guess, vintage items making a comeback. I saying that just makes me feel so old. Um,
I feel it too. There's it's picking up like anything that's like a VHS or something like that makes me feel old because I'm just like, I remember when I would just watch these as if they were new. Like this is crazy. I can't believe these are old.
yeah. So can we talk a little bit about one of the characters, which is the house, the farmhouse, and the location you had in mind from the beginning, and picking this one?
Yeah, so this was inspired by my family's abandoned farmhouse where I would go visit a bunch when I was a kid. And yeah, it was really, really fun to just talk like about the house when I was in it with my grandparents. They would just be like, "Oh yeah, this like that photo there is from your great great and uncle. They took this picture when they were doing this," or pick up this old book and be like, "Oh yeah, I bought this at a bookstore like down the street that now no longer exists." So it was very fascinating to be, using that as a way to time travel and then figuring out like, well, what if you did hide out in this time that was different and then came back and, it was abandoned or something like that. Like just shifting production design a little bit here and there to show the passage of time without any crazy special effects was just a unique idea that I was messing with. And it's like the big magic trick of the movie, which is like, what if you just walked into a closet, came out, and it was a different season. It was a different unknown time. All the furniture was here. It's incredibly inspiring, and I just kind of built more of the house based off those types of ideas.
You had a great cast that play siblings. I had a chance to speak to Riley and Adam. And one thing that I asked him about was what was the advantage, the perk of having a small cast?
Oh, that's a great question. It's allows me to know them on a personal level. Like we're on text chains and still talk to each other well beyond the shoot, which we finished a year ago. Like, so it's it's great to be able to concentrate on just two characters, know them so well, their characters intimately back and forth, and then know how the actors are approaching them and their thoughts about how to embody them and what their takes on the characters are, allows us to concentrate and really focus on them and really get to know them intimately as an audience member. So if a bigger cast, you would need more time, you would need more people, you need more budget in order to do that. So an indie film, you really just can only concentrate on two people really well. And thankfully we had the two best actors you could ask for. Adam and Riley were paramount in making this movie the way it is and working as well as it is today. So yeah.
Yeah, they said that they spoke highly of you, by the way, of course.
That's nice of
And
them.
and they said that what they like, one of the perks is the how the fast the filming took place. And not
Mm.
only that, but how it's an additional plus, the fact that you were the writer and you editor because you knew what material you needed, so there was no waste of time.
Yeah, I mean, I would say a director that has a first-time director that has been working in the film industry tends to lean on the job that they had before in order to kind of help as like a crutch when they need it. So on top of like my experience as an editor allowed the production to be streamlined, but also having my amazing co-editor Rebecca to give me like a separate point of view that I couldn't see is really paramount too. And trusting, knowing that I could trust her because of our editing experience together and knowing how she works, I can just turn my brain off sometimes and then come in and collaborate with her. So it was really, it's funny, like my editing experience was much more useful on set. And then once I was able to work with my co-editor, it was good to know, like, okay, I can trust somebody with that as well. So yeah, it was a very streamlined, fast shoot that we all felt very confident in. Just even when production woes tend to happen, we really leaned on each other.
And what made you want to pick a brother and sister? Usually we see couples.
Yeah, that's a good observation. I would say, well, I just don't see too many brother and sister stories, and I think they're ripe for, exploration in cinema for sure right now. And especially since I inspired a lot of this based off my own relationship between me and my sister, uh, who is in a different part of the country. She's raising two wonderful girls and she's got a different job than I do. So it's very easy for us to just have lapse in discussion and hanging out and talking. So and that guilt that comes from not seeing each other or not catching up with them, and years would go by without a meaningful vacation time to go see them, really inspired my exploration between Joseph and Sydney's characters, and things will be different. So yeah, that's the reason why I went with brother and sister, was just because I knew it pretty well from my experience with my own sister.
Wow. Well, great. Well, congratulations with this film. People will be watching, what is it, October 4th?
Yes, we'll be in theaters and VOD on October 4th.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. And again, congratulations with your film.
Awesome. Thank you, Nancy. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.